Ms. Haney here. We are going to be sketching the graph of the function, and sorry if there's lots of noise in the background. My family is still very awake. All right, so for this function, the first thing that I like to think about is whether it's going to be even or odd and positive or negative. So because we've got x squared, that's 2x's, and then there's an x and there's an x, so altogether it's x to the fourth. And x to the fourth we know is even, because 4 is even. And so when we have even exponents, our graph is going to end in the same direction. And because this is a positive function, they're both going to end up. So after we know our zeros, we'll be able to draw the points, or draw the lines, and they should both end up. All right, so to find the zeros, or where it crosses the x-axis, you set each set of parentheses equal to 0. So we'll have x plus 2 equals 0, and so that would mean x equals a negative 2. We'll have x minus 1 equals 0, so that means that x equals a positive 1. And we'll need to do a little more algebra for the last one. 3x plus 18 equals 0. If we subtract 18 from both sides, we get 3x equals a negative 18. And then dividing by 3, we see that x equals a negative 6. So then we want to put these 3 points on our graph. Again, these are x values. So we have negative 2, see if I can do this here, positive 1, and a negative 6. All right, so now, so sketch the graph, including the correct signs, x-intercepts and y-intercepts. So we need to find the y-intercept, and the y-intercept happens when the x value is 0. So I'm just going to take my original function here, and I'm going to plug 0 in any place I have an x. So we've got 0 plus 2 squared. I might run out of room here. 0 minus 1. And then 3 times 0 plus 18. There we go. Okay, so when we solve that, 0 plus 2 is going to give us 2, and then 2 squared is 4. 0 minus 1 is a negative 1, so we've got 4 times negative 1. 3 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 18 is 18. And when we multiply 4 times negative 1 times 18, we get a negative 72. And again, that's finding our y. We plug 0 in for our x's. So that's going to be, somewhere around there. Okay, so when we're connecting our dots, we already knew that it was going to be going up on both the left and the right side. So from our endpoints here, we're going up. And then it's a fun game of connect the dots. So if you remember when we learned this at the beginning of the year, whenever we had something squared, it was a bounce, I called it. They call it a turning point. So that means it changes direction at that point. So I know that this is going to have to come down here. Oops, I can't draw on this thing. And then come back up here. But because it's a bounce, it's going to have to go down and back up. So hopefully you can make yours look smoother than that. But so if we think about what this function is doing, it's got to go through the point negative 6, and then it's going to go up to negative 2. But because of this squared function up here, that means it changes direction. So it's got to go up and come immediately back down to hit the y-axis, and then come up and go through that point. So if you're thinking about, they talk about correct signs. So from here, and to the left. So from negative 6 to the left, those are positive. Between negative 6 and negative 2, those are negative values. Um, between -2 and +1, those are also negative. And then from 1 and up is positive. So I hope that makes sense. Sorry, my graph is so messy. Reach out if that is still confusing, but hopefully that is helpful. Thanks.